Well, sorry, Frieza, but I'm canceling your date with Goku. Anytime now, Goku will be coming home, and only one of us is going to be here waiting for him.
I figured you out. You're only the cross-dresser when you attack, which can only mean one thing. You can't use your Kenpo when you look like Nami.
Okay, so I've designed a really sweet attack plan, which I'm calling Attack Plan Alpha, like Alpha Dog. Woof! I think it makes use of our strengths in the best way possible.
Hello, I'm Prince Draco from PdracoProductions, and I'm here with Mr. Eric Vale. You might know him back in the day as Future Trunks. You might know him currently as America and Canada from Hetalia.
And Canada.
And Sanji from One Piece. And he also directs, writes. What do you not do?
Porn.
And we're here in North Carolina.
Sorry.
At Amazement 2011, where he's had some interesting experiences with a Japanese counterpart of One Piece that he got to have dinner with and a panel with. So tell us a little about how dinner went and the panel in your mind.
Well, dinner was great. We had a nice time. We went out to a Brazilian steakhouse and ate a lot of meat, and it was a nice dinner. Todd Habercorn and myself made sure to sit with all of the Japanese folks who were joining us so that we could experience what it was like for them being over here. And that was a lot of fun. We had a nice time with them. They were very pleasant. And then today I had a panel called Sanji versus Sanji, where my Japanese counterpart, Sanji, was sitting next to me on the panel, and we had a translator, and people from the audience asked us questions, and both of us answered in our different ways. And it was nice seeing that while both of us play the same character, we have slightly different takes on Sanji. Not too far off, but far enough off that it was interesting.
Now, what was it like working with somebody that you had to have a translator for there, different from other stuff you do?
Oh, it's not that hard. I mean, I'm used to hearing Japanese, and I mean, it was kind of like being at work, actually. Okay. So I was used to that.
All right. One question I had, I just finished watching Initial D, which you wrote, and you were talking about how you learned a lot about cars from doing that.
Yeah, I did.
Now, one question I have, because Todd kept on saying it in every episode, I'm like, did Eric intentionally write that, or did the Japanese? Because I didn't watch the Japanese track yet. Todd says almost every episode, I don't mean to blow smoke up your ass.
You mean, did I write that in?
Yeah, or did you just translate that over? Or
I don't know.
Mouth flaps and stuff.
Well, probably there's a little bit of both along the way. But you got to keep in mind that I'm not the last writer.
Okay.
The last writer on that show is always going to be the director.
All right.
Because the director always has the prerogative to change the dialogue at the last minute to suit what's happening in the booth at the time. In a perfect world, which we don't always live in, but for the most part, I work off of the same video that the studio gets when they're recording it. So what I write at home should match pretty well with what they're recording in the studio. But it's not always the case, because sometimes when I'm writing at home, I haven't had enough coffee for that day, so I'm not speaking my words fast enough. Or I've had way too much coffee that day and I'm speaking way too fast when I'm writing. And, you put those things in the booth, and it might not match up with the energy level that the actor has brought that day. And maybe the actor, isn't feeling well that day, so they're not able to, bring the energy that they should for the character or whatever. But at any rate, the director does have to change dialogue at the last minute sometimes. So I'll take responsibility for some of the "don't blow the smoke up your ass" line, but I can't take responsibility for all of them.
Now, I know you could probably, I've never actually, I talked to Brina, she does music directing, and I've talked to Caitlin, who's done Orange Host Club directing. Haven't asked about writing yet. Now, I know you could probably talk hours on what you do as a writer, but could you make like a little sum up of like in the business, like what your job entails?
Well, as a writer and as an anime and dub writer, adapter basically, it's pretty straightforward. I get a video of the episode, I get a translation of the show, and then my job as a writer is to take the translation and make it sound good, because a show translated directly from Japanese into English, or dialogue translated directly from Japanese into English, doesn't sound natural. So it's my job to take those words and make them sound natural. And once I've made them sound natural, and I've kept the consistency of character, and I've kept the story arc consistent from, say, episode to episode, then my job is to take those lines and put them into the flaps on the screen. I'm supposed to then take the bits of dialogue and make it work with the mouth flaps, with the animation for the mouth that already exists. And then I've got to tweak it a little bit more. That, in a nutshell, that's what I do. It can be tedious, it's very time consuming, but it's rewarding in the end.
Funny things, I just reached for my water, I realized it was over there.
Here. It's a fresh one for you.
So, how is it really hard or frustrating to fit mouth flaps, like when you have to take a long line that American obviously can't say in that fast of time?
Well, yeah. I mean, we've got some benefits and some detriments. You've got the fact that there's 12 times as many ways to say something in English than there is in Japanese, which sometimes works against you, sometimes it works in your favor. It just kind of depends. So in Japanese, they can say something in this amount of time, and you've got this much time to fill. Well, when something like that happens, what you have to do is you just have to make up dialogue that doesn't exist. The trick to that is making up dialogue that isn't cheating, that is consistent with the show, that is consistent with the character, and that would sound like it would belong. That's hard. Going the other way is not as bad when you've got to take something where you've got this much and you've got only this much room to put it into. That's a lot easier to being concise about something. Cutting dialogue down is a lot easier.
Going old school, back in the day when you first started Dragon Ball Z, I've had a lot of people I guess you say ponder the question of, like, when they do those scenes when they have to power up or go Super Saiyan and you have to blow your vocal cords out, do you get like some time off after you just do that, or do you have to keep on trucking through the episode?
Well, back then and now, they're kind enough, and this happens on any show, they're generally kind enough to let you put all of your screaming at the end of your session.
Okay.
So you do all your dialogue, talking, and subtle fighting reactions for the first part of your session, and then leave all of your screaming for the last hour, half hour, or however long it's going to take. And then blow your vocal cords out. And then after that, you can go on and go home and not talk to anyone for the rest of the day. But after you've been doing it as long as I have, even blowing your vocal cords out at the end of the day, your voice recovers pretty quickly. It's not like I can't work the next day or something. It was like that when I first started 11, 12 years ago. It's not like that anymore. Now I can scream, blow my vocal cords out, and then go right back to work the next day.
When you first started doing Trunks and you had to do that Super Saiyan scene for the first time, how many times did the director have to tell you, that was okay, do it again? Nah, that's not what I want to hear, do it again. Did you have to do that one scene when you first did it a lot?
No.
You nailed it?
I don't know if I nailed it, but I know that the director was nice enough to not have to make me do it over and over again. I mean, he's a good guy. But we didn't really, drive that home. he just, you know, if the scream, you know, I made sure to not scream half-assed, you know, I scream full tilt. And as long as you're screaming like full tilt, and you know if you've got a scream to do, you're gonna have to scream that loud. So you just do it, and generally speaking, the director's cool with it first time through. As long as it's long enough, as long as it covers the amount of space that it has to. If it doesn't, then you're gonna have to get it again. So.
All right, so you just got the job as Chunks. You come in, you're about to do your, you know, first scenes and stuff like that. You see them slicing up people, blowing people up. What's going through your head in the studio? First time, if you can remember that far back.
First time, I was just thrilled to get some work because I was working in a pizza joint, delivering pies, and I'd just been suspended from college for doing poorly in school. So things were not going well for me. With the exception of the fact that I was freshly single, everything was kind of crummy. And so to book such a huge job at the time, I just was kind of fresh-faced and happy to do whatever. So it almost didn't matter. They could have put anything they wanted to on screen. And I was just happy. Just like, thank God, I've got work. They're going to pay me for pretending like I'm a cartoon. This is awesome.
No, I told you this before. My friends would kill me, and I know, you know, it's changed. Especially when you do a raspy voice like Chunks, but the line we talked about that you said you tinkered around with to actually get the voice down, stuff like that.
Right.
Can you deliver that for your old school fans?
Sure.
You're about to find out what it's like to fight a real Super Saiyan. And I'm not talking about Goku. I'm talking about me, baby.
The last part was just improvised.
You still got it.
Sorry, thanks.
Improvise is good.
Okay.
Now you got a bunch of new, you had the big Dragon Ball Z fan base. Now you got Hetalia in One Piece.
Yep.
How's that been for you?
It's awesome. I mean, I'm glad people like what I do. I'm surprised always that people continue to come back for more. I'm thrilled that they do. You know, I love it. It means so much to me that people would like my work. You know, I work really hard at this. I've been working really hard at this my whole life, and that, you know, people hear me and like it. That's really awesome. So it's everyone thinks like, oh, isn't it weird? And it's like, yeah, it's weird. It's weird that people know who I am without me knowing who they are. But at the same time, it's pretty awesome. So.
Kind of like George Clooney, huh?
No.
Minus the millions.
Yeah. Minus the millions and the houses in Italy and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. No, are you kidding? I would hate to be George Clooney. I'd hate all that money. That would suck. No, the whole thing about, you know, somebody like George Clooney is that George Clooney can't go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
You know, George Clooney walks to the grocery store. He goes down to the Kroger. Everyone's going to know who he is. He can't just go in and grab a gallon of milk and go home. I can. I have to all the time. So that's easy for me. That's the benefit of being a voice actor. Nobody knows who I am on site. I mean, unless I'm here at like a convention, everyone's like, he's just a regular guy.
Well, I guess I'll wrap it up and cut to the end, but hopefully you won't cry when I say this, but I will let the people know watching that a bunch of me and my friends when we were growing up, when we heard, I have to go Chris Sabat out there, when we heard you and Chris Sabat back in the VHS tape days, which we all still own every VHS tape that's worth 1 penny now, and then bought the DVDs, and then bought the DVDs, and then bought the DVDs, and then bought the Blu-ray, which comes out next week, I believe, with you.
I think so.
Yeah. So there's a plug for that. Kai, Future Chunks next week. Bye.
Yes, dude.
He needs money. But you were a big. I went into radio, DJing, making commercials, producing a live sports talk show. And while I didn't go into acting or into voice acting, and my friends went into television, anchors, newscasts, stuff like that. It was like your deliveries and hearing like how you guys worked on the mic that kind of inspired us, even though we went in different directions. So I wanted to make sure that you knew that I know you didn't do. I knew you do that because you needed a paycheck back in the pizza days. But what you didn't really know is when you were trying to get from pizza to voice acting, you actually inspired a ton of people to want to use the microphone in different ways.
Well, great. Thanks, man. I'm glad.
It's a very big honor to have met you, eat lunch with you, and get to interview you. So,
well, thanks, man.
Keep doing what you're doing, and hopefully you'll get jobs, and we'll keep on seeing you.
I will, man. I'll be coming back anytime anybody will have me.
Conventions, get him over here, buy his Blu-ray, anything else?
You can keep up with me at my website, ericvale.com.
There you go.
And I'll post everything on there where I'm going, and you can even contact me on there. So give me a shout.
All right, thank you very much for the interview. I appreciate it.
Thanks, man. Awesome.
That was awesome, man. Thank you.
My pleasure, dude. Good interview.
So when you first started doing Trunks, and totally forgot what I was going to say. Post-production minute. I remember now.
Okay. Yeah.